Hello, welcome to the Film Vomit Podcast, an extension of the Vomit series of podcasts. As always, we're your hosts, Mac Taylor, and
Hey, Cole Selby today.
getting that intro better. We're trial it.
It's getting there.
Yeah, it's getting there. It's not quite there.
It's getting there.
And today we are a major milestone in our road to the Gingerdead Man versus the Evil Bong, because we have stopped at Gingerdead Man versus the Evil Bong, which was the initial end point of this, but because there are more movies that we're not done, but this is a big deal, so to speak. The movie's not a big deal, but getting is good. So Cole, what were your kind of expectations going in, and kind of give us a brief kind of where you're at before we take a deep dive here?
It wasn't fully what I expected, as it always is. But I was expecting just bad mouth animations, which I got on the Gingerdead Man.
Really bad mouth animation.
I was expecting a lot of titties again, and that happened again as well. This come par for the course with these movies.
Yep.
I wasn't expecting the plot to happen as it did. Well, if you can call it that.
Right.
Yeah, it just really it was slow, really slow, honestly, for me.
It's only an hour and 20 minutes, and it felt like much longer.
Yeah. Well, there's only like an hour of actual movie, like 20 minutes of flashback.
Yeah. Going into this, because after Evil Bong 3, I felt pretty good, but I knew, I was like, this one's gonna dip. And it did, mostly because I felt like they didn't really know how to, like, they knew they wanted to do this crossover for money, but they didn't quite know how it was going to actually work, because EB doesn't have a whole lot of movement. And with the Gingerdead Man, they really went for it in the third movie and realized that didn't work. So they tried to minimize. They went back to the basics with the puppeteering. So you have this Gingerdead Man puppet that doesn't really work all that well, and then the EB puppet, which can't do much of anything. And so how do they really fight each other? They don't.
Yeah, they really no. The whole Gingerdead Man versus Evil Bong is really just to have both of them in the same movie.
Pretty much, and to basically make Robin Sydney play two characters that she played in.
Which was funny.
Yeah, and she's significantly she's a way better actress than she was in the Gingerdead Man, which leads me to believe that the Gingerdead Man was just that poorly directed, because in every other movie she's been in, she's been pretty decent with what she's given. I mean, granted, she's not like an Oscar actress or anything, but like she does what needs to be done. So yeah, it's just a testament of how truly bad the original Gingerdead Man was. Going into it though, I heard some things about it. Like, again, I had never watched it, but I kind of knew the quality was going down. But there was a lot of flashbacks which didn't need to be in the movie, and there was also a lot of characters that literally had no relevance at all.
Yeah.
In the story. So we're getting ready to dive into it, but I said to give like we're not the worst movie we watched. With this.
Still better than the first Gingerdead Man movie.
Yeah, and
still better.
I may even say this was more enjoyable than Gingerdead Man 3, but it did lack a lot of it, because I think most of the time it almost felt like they didn't even have a script. Like, they were just kind of like, I think we can shoot this today. So let's go ahead. Let's dive right in here. Not a whole lot to talk about, because there's really only like an hour of movie. I only have like a page and a half of notes.
I have a page.
Yeah, exactly. Not a lot here. Most of my notes are actually just lines of Larnell's I liked. So
I started writing down those, and then it was just getting too many. I was filling up my page.
Because again, the guy who plays Larnell just fucking nails it. He is the
best
person.
He's great. I'm so glad that they focused so much on him and just let him shine throughout the whole movie.
Yes, because if he wasn't in this movie, it would have been that much worse. Okay, so we start out, which this makes no sense how we start out this movie. The Gingerdead man is on a beach with 3 naked chicks talking about how he wants to bone. And then he's all of a sudden like, oh yeah, remember that chick who's the whole reason I'm a cookie in the first place? I should probably finish that business. And then goes to do it. Like, we had 2 sequels to the Gingerdead man, which made 0 fucking mention of the first movie, really. And now all of a sudden we're gonna, but also why is he on a beach with these 3 women? That makes 0 sense.
And also, where's the like? How does he get the news, Ben, on where to go? To go.
He's got that newspaper.
Yeah, it gets just flown just out of nowhere. Just.
I guess there's a mailbox in the sand somewhere. I don't know, but yeah, we needed it for plot relevance, which apparently we've had 0 problems shoehorning shit into plots before, but this is the stretch.
Yeah.
So that kick starts the movie, and then we get a super generic opening song. Like the Gingerdead, we didn't get the Gingerdead man song or the Evil Bong song. We got like this basic music cue with like sci-fi synths kind of like wedged into it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why we couldn't. You could have done like a crossover between both songs and kind of like mashed them together. But because to make it like that much more of a big deal, no, they get 0 fucks.
There's just whatever song was free for them to use, they used it.
Yeah, pretty much. I think they had significantly less money with this than they did like the last couple of movies in this franchise. I don't think they had hardly any money for this movie. They might have shot this movie because again, it's hard to find background info on this stuff, but because the Larnell shop literally looks like Bachman and Brett's shop just redecorated. Yeah. So I feel like they were like, they hadn't yet taken down the Evil Bong 3 set, and we're like, we could do something real quick if y'all want. So he goes off to kill Sarah, who's for some reason in Los Angeles. And then we see Larnell has bought a shop, which was once called Dick's Head Shop, which is now, he took off the S. So it's this Dickhead Shop. And he's basically in the smoke shop business like Bachman and Brett were, but he has he has LED lights and shit now. Like he's got like slightly better production value.
I'll say it actually looks more like a head shop than the last one did.
I'll say that. They spent a little more time with set decoration, but again, it looks like the exact same set.
Yeah,
like the walls are the same color. The front counters looks exactly the same. They just redecorated a little bit, which is fine. Yeah, make use of your fucking props. I get it, but it was blatantly off. I think even like that outside shot of the building was the exact same outside shot, and it's also the same streets that they shot on for the opening of Evil Bong 3. So again, I would not be surprised if this happened at the same time as Evil Bong 3. So the guy who played Larnell was in 2 movies at the same time. So then we meet Larnell's worker named Strings, who has homicidal tendencies. And who just complains a bunch. He also has an eye patch, which he doesn't need because most of the movie he'll lift it up to look at people like more menacingly. And I'm like, why are you wearing an eye patch? I guess they really wanted that joke in there. They're like, wouldn't it be really funny if he has an eye patch and he just keeps lifting up the eye patch and his eye is normal? And we'll do that joke 17 times just in case people didn't catch it.
I was just very confused on why they gave him the eye patch to begin with. Like once I learned that he actually didn't need it.
Well, like the first time it was funny, but like as the movie went on, I'm like, oh, okay, we've touched on that joke. Do we really need to keep hammering that one? And so Strings wants to test out the merch, which again, why are we the second time that's happened in these movies? So they smoke up, which he's Strings is smoking out of a hookah, and Larnell's smoking out of a bowl. But he says, be careful in that bong. And I'm like, guys, we got it right with the third movie. Why are we going back? Like, that is a hookah. It's fine. You can call it a hookah. Just because we're in an evil bong movie doesn't mean everything has to be a bong.
Yeah.
And then we see that Felicity is here. Although, just like the third movie, she's only in this one scene and never shows up again. And it makes no sense. Like, where did she go?
And then she's completely forgotten about too.
Yeah.
Like
it's like they shot this opening after. Like, this was like the last thing they shot. Like, they shot the rest of the movie thinking they were gonna put Larnell and Sarah together, and then we're like, oh shit, we got the actress who played Felicity. We should probably mention that they had this love thing. Like, it was so random.
Yeah.
But she's here, and just basically to be looked at by Strings and to basically be Larnell's support system, because she's really the only brains of the operation.
Yeah.
And then basically this whole conversation is just a reason to give flashback scenes. So we get the Evil Bong flashback scene, which is the longest flashback scene. That takes like 5 minutes. I was like, Jesus Christ, that's a long flashback. And they also do that stupid ripple effect around it. I thought we had moved on past that. But apparently not. You don't need to add an effect for us to know that it's a flashback. When you say, remember when this thing happened, that's all we need. You don't need like, remember when this thing happened? And then we do this weird, stupid border.
Yeah.
It's overkill. I know we've established that already, but it's like, I thought we had learned our lesson in the past.
It's just so distracting.
It's very distracting. And it makes it look cheaper than it should look. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it makes it look like a high school project in those scenes, which really it's not. It's a goofy independent film, but like, you're really like taking it down a notch. You can't afford to have it taken down any lower than it is.
Yeah.
So we get that flashback scene, and then Strings like, one time I got high and woke up at a zoo, and I stayed there for a week because they kept feeding me. And I was like, I am so interested in this character. I wish they wouldn't have killed him off, because I wanted more of him in later movies. But you know, he's like one of the only people that actually is confirmed to be dead in this whole entire movie. Wasted potential for Strings. We need justice for him. Then that leads right into an Evil Bong 2 flashback that Larnell doesn't mention Felicity, just mentions the Poontang tribe. And then she gets mad at that, which just made her look more hot to me. And then we also get a mention that Gramps has passed away. I'm not entirely sure if they just couldn't get the actor, because I don't think he's dead. But
I think they're like guessing he's dead because he went and look for the space weed from the last movie.
Yeah,
but
we never got a follow up on that. Like, what happened with Nurse Hookah and the space weed? Like, I'm curious about it. But apparently he's dead, maybe from space weed. We don't know. And then we get an Evil Bong 3 flashback, which is really short. And then Strings like, that's a load of horse shit. And he's like, an evil bong, a king bong, an alien bong. That's so stupid. And then he has one of my favorite lines, maybe ever. He says, eat a dick. Makes no sense why you double up on it, but I laughed. That was one of the only times I laughed out loud, is because that was just such an off-putting line. And then basically he's asking Larnell, like, what happened to the guys in the story? And he's like, we're never going to talk about those guys again. And I'm like, why? And we get a mention later what happened, but it's like, I guess they couldn't get those actors to come back for it, maybe scheduling or something, but they kind of yada them out of it when they've been.
It made it seem like they had a falling out and they like none of them are friends anymore, is what he was acting.
Yeah, but like in reality, they just like went to do other shit. Like,
they just like moved on.
And he says, how can I build an empire on your shoulders? And String says, you can't. That's a great line.
So you can.
And then Felicity wants marriage, and there's like this awkward mention. She's like, thank God that evil Bong is gone. We're never gonna do another one of those, right? Larnell's like, yeah, totally gone. And you're already like, where's EB?
Yeah.
Like, clearly, this was an awkward interaction. And then Larnell gets two people that come into the store wanting to test the product before they buy, which you never do when dealing with drugs. There's no sampling of the drugs before you buy the drugs, typically.
Especially in a head shop. I mean, don't know.
Because they make the whole big deal about water pipes, the not saying wrong, and then you're just going to light up right in there. A gas mask too, which is going to just completely just smoke it out. And they're like, we just want to wait. Like the whole reason these two are in here, besides to do this whole, not wanting to pay for shit thing, is they're like, we're just youths wanting to completely waste our potential. And I'm like, what? Who says that? Even if you are a complete burnout, you're not going to walk into a place and be like, I can't wait to waste the rest of my 20s like that. No one talks like that.
It was like some weird attempt at like meta humor.
Yeah.
Somehow.
And it just felt weird and just like,
you
don't need to have your characters, like, for the sake of jokes, not sound like real people. You know what I'm saying? Especially when they've got like all the main characters in the Evil Bong were like acted like stoners. Like there's various different kinds of stoners of productivity and stuff. It felt believable. This just felt like we need to make a joke about kids just smoking weed and doing nothing else. Like, let's just literally say these kids were smoking nothing else. It's like the rule number one really of film is to show, not tell. And this is just all tell.
Yeah.
The only thing they're showing us is flashbacks and movies we've already watched.
Yeah.
So they come in, they test the gas mask, which is again so stupid. And then Hambo the Clown walks in to try to sell an Ooga Booga figurine. So basically just like a shameless plug for another movie they were making around this time. Because Hambo is in Ooga Booga. So they were just like, hey, here's a character from this other movie we're making. But if you don't watch that movie and you just watch this makes no fucking sense. So here you go. It's very, very annoying. And then we get two very bad Asian stereotypes.
Yes, very bad.
This was a little uncomfortable, especially because the guy's wearing like fake big teeth, which is just like, did we need to do that? Hey, I'm all up for offending everybody and just like taking things like over the edge a little bit, but that one was a little much. You didn't need to.
It's because the whole basis of the joke is basically a racial basis. Like it's funny because he's Asian.
Yeah, and then
that's it.
They're there because they wrecked their car, so it's like the Asian can't drive stereotype.
Yeah.
Along with the one can't speak English and the other one has big teeth. So it's like it made me very uncomfortable the whole time. But again, these two characters have absolutely zero impact on the story.
Yeah.
Hambo has zero impact on the story. The two stoner burnouts, zero impact on the story. Where you think they're introducing these characters to potentially just be cannon fodder for the Gingerdead man? No.
Yeah.
Nope, that doesn't happen. So
I was thinking, it was all the people that's going to die in the movie.
Exactly.
No, they just leave. They just leave the store. Well, I mean, I guess the stoners do technically get stabbed by a string.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with the antagonist of the film.
Jeez. Wait, does that mean Strings has the same kill count as Gingerdead Man in this movie?
Almost, yeah.
Jesus.
So Strings yells at them to buy stuff, and Hambo awkwardly takes a photo of the guy. That again makes zero sense why he does this. So the Asians buy a whole bunch of shit and just angrily leave without getting the directions that they wanted.
Yeah, he's like screaming, it's like, next time I come in here, I kill you. It's like, yeah.
Jeez. That was funny, but we didn't need the rest of it. Like again, it could have been the accent joke, but we don't need all the stereotypes. Like scene. Like you you can play up one. Like I don't know.
Mhm.
Again, I was very uncomfortable with that. I was actually kind of glad they weren't around the whole movie because of that. And then the stoners are like, yeah, we don't have any money, Dick. And he's like, my name's not Dick. The shop's just named after the guy that used to own it. And he's like, whatever, Dick, quit being a dick. Like, they really hammer that joke over. And he's like, Strings, get rid of these stoners. And he chases them off. And then later we find out he stabbed them and maybe murdered them. Not entirely sure what happened there, but
I would like to believe he killed them.
Yeah. How dare you steal our weed? You will be murdered. So apparently, like, Larnell goes to the back and we see he has EB, which was willed to him by Gramps. Like Gramps would ever will him something.
Completely out of character.
Yep. And he hopes to study why she does what she does, which again, Larnell's not a scientist.
No.
It would make more sense if this was Al doing this.
Yeah.
But yeah, like what is Larnell how is he gonna study it? All he does is smoke weed by it.
Yeah. He's gonna smoke weed and look at it, man. That's how you study.
That's how you get the real work done, you know? It's just a way to shoehorn EB into the movie, but they could have tried a little harder. Again, a lot of things. If you just did another draft of the script, you could have probably fixed.
It would have been more believable if Lana like stole the bomb or something after Gramps died.
Yeah. He's like, Gramps died unexpectedly. He went to his house and stole Evie.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
That makes more sense for Larnell to do.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, he wants to study it for some reason. And then Rabbit arrives to try to sell Evil Bong merch. This felt like Full Moon's reason to being like, we have Evil Bong pipes if you'd like to purchase them, and go to fullmoonpictures.com. That was basically the whole reason that existed. And also it shoehorns Rabbit into the story. And also he was kicked out of the monastery for growing and selling weed in the confessional booths, which totally
was great.
Rabbit. That was great.
I feel like no matter what happens to Rabbit, he can make it in character.
Yep. For someone who had such a very small role in the first movie, he has kind of evolved into the main character of this franchise, like even more so than Larnell, because he's like the goofy, because Larnell was kind of that type of character in the first movie. He was kind of like the comedic relief character, whereas now that's more so Rabbit's thing.
Yeah.
It works though. It fits the character. And then he also has a Gingerdead Man inspired cookie. And Larnell's like, oh, that looks like a good cookie. Hey, Rabbit, I don't want to be weird or anything. Where'd you get that cookie? Man, that's a sexy looking cookie. Like,
why is he so hard for this cookie?
He is uncomfortably hard for this cookie. But that actually looks like a gingerbread man, unlike the actual Gingerdead Man, which is way too unproportionate.
Yeah, these look like actual cookies you could buy from a shop.
Exactly. And so he directs Larnell to the bakery, the Do Re Mi bakery. And Larnell leaves Rabbit at the shop by himself, which makes zero sense of why you would trust Rabbit to be there by himself.
He went through all this about how much he doesn't trust Rabbit anymore, and then immediately just leaves him alone in his shop.
Yep.
Great.
And then at the bakery, there's this guy that comes in and like tries to get the chick to reach for like the farthest cookie to like get off on it.
I think he wants to like look at her ass and then where she's like placing her hand in the glass is like next to his crotch. So he's just like having a weird mental moment.
Yeah.
Just having a good time.
Sarah comes to chase him off. But again, it was like such a weird way to go about this. Like it'd be different if like the cookie was in the back and that's why he wanted her to like reach for it, because he could have a better like, how do you see her from over the counter? Like I was looking for a mirror in the shot or like something. Like I didn't really get that explanation, so it just came off to me as very bizarre. But again, this is Evil Bong versus Gingerdead Man. Everything's bizarre, but that, and again, this character absolutely zero impact on the movie. So again,
there's just a lot of filler in this movie. It seems just to pad the time out.
This movie could have been 25 minutes. with all the relevant information. It could a half hour. It could have been an episode. They could have made a mini series out of this.
Yeah.
Which when you have an hour and 20-minute movie and an hour of it feels like it's unnecessary. That's almost impressive, actually.
Yeah.
So that guy leaves and Larnell comes in and basically like gets really weird with a few cookies.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a little bit of a Gingerdead Man 1 flashback.
Yeah, yeah. Before Larnell comes in, thank you for reminding me about that. This chick's like, I heard you had this weird interaction, and she basically goes into the backstory, and we get a very brief thank God, Gingerdead Man flashback.
Yeah.
And then she's like, and that's why I make these cookies, because it's a way of overcoming my fear. And this chick just like fangirls out over Sarah for like a few minutes, and that's mainly her main character trait, is that she's like obsessed with Sarah's survival story.
Yeah, she's very insensitive for being someone who's supposed to be a friend. It's like, hey, you know that traumatic event that happened to you? You want to tell me about it? I don't feel like it. It's like, I promise. Can you please tell me anyway?
I know it's the middle of the workday, and this could potentially affect the whole rest of your night. But let's talk about the one thing that really impacted your past.
Yeah. Remember when your friends died gruesomely in front of you? Let's relive that.
I found this newspaper. Like, what is it about the Gingerdead Man movies that like every pertinent plot information comes from the fucking newspaper? It's the 2010s at this point. I think this movie came out like 2012 or something. No one is getting all their pertinent information from a newspaper that is in their 20s, 30s. It would have been more believable if she pulled up her phone, like an article on her phone. But no, she's like, I was reading this newspaper and clearly saw all this information that it already said who you were, but I want you to tell me. And
Jesus.
The audacity of this chick.
For real.
But then Larnell comes in to eat some cookies, and basically he wants to talk about a merger or a business partnership between the bakery and this, which is actually a really good idea, because you know when people smoke weed, they get munchies and they want to eat snacks, and there you go, you have your snack. They should probably want to locate next to each other, because that's an easy way to garner business for both places. Like, I actually saw, I'm like, wow, Larnell, you actually had a really solid idea.
Yeah.
And she's like, what kind of shop is it? And he says, and she's like, oh, I'm totally against that. Which, again, she plays Luann, which is such like a slutty stereotype. And then she plays Sarah, who's like, no, don't know, virgin chick. Again, there's a testament to that. She's a decent actress. But she's like, no, he's like, this, come look at it. Come look at the shop. Look at the lights. Pretty lights. Tell me what you mean then. So she leaves this chick alone, and I guess this chick's boyfriend also works there. And they immediately go to Bone.
Yeah, immediately. Soon as the door closes.
Yep, and there's no one to man the counter. What if someone comes in? But they won't have to worry too much about time, because literally it lasts for they also get in flour on the table where the dough is needed. So that's very unsanitary for both the table and her. No one wants flour in their cooch. That's literally how yeast infections work. But it's only like 7 seconds.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't know if I could walk afterward. I'm like, how? Like, did he even touch it?
I mean, he even said like it's only like Joe. She's only gonna be gone for 5 minutes. Like, that's just I don't know. It was weird.
But also, like, they took more time taking her clothes off than they did the actual scene, which is fine to yada through it for my interest in the movie. But like, we did all that build up. Like, you could have just like pulled up the shorts and like rolled on with your day. You didn't need to do all of that for like that's a lot of work. 3 seconds. So that was like my thing. And like the Gingerdead Man doesn't do his normal creepy thing either. He just immediately kills them afterwards. Like, there was no like, I'm gonna get in on that. Blah, blah. Like he stabs her, and we've gone back to practical effects for the kills. Like, there's a lot of cutaways and cutting back to like very minimal gore, which is fine. I prefer that than the shitty CGI, because this it felt, there was some work put into it. And then he hits the guy in the face with an axe, and then that's it for these characters. So they were only in that scene for that one thing.
Yeah, which is more padding of the movie. They could have just steered away.
We had all that for a 3-second sex scene and 2 very quick cut murders.
Yeah. Which do they like? When do they get found? Do the bodies get found out?
No. In fact, she never goes back to the shop, so it's just wide open and unmanned. The whole rest of the movie.
Awesome.
And it never comes up because they don't care.
Oh, there's also something. When Larnell is actually first walking to the bakery, I loved how hard they were trying to make sure this big Snapchat logo wouldn't get into frame. It like almost fully got in.
Just got around this. We do not have
that shit was funny.
And also, like, it was clearly just filmed. Like, they just went out in the street and Larnell was walking, and the camera guy was like off to the side and just did this.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, these people did not probably sign things to be in this movie. They're just walking by, and then they're just like, okay, we got it. Very much guerrilla filmmaking at its finest there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. So they go back to the shop, and while they were there, Rabbit, I think it was only like a couple minutes that he was gone, but Rabbit finds Evie and she's like, there's tits in here. And he's like, you got me. And he takes Larnell's and he smokes that. It's very minimal work to get Rabbit to go into Bong World, even though he's been twice and has ended very badly for him twice. Once he ended up a doobie, and the other time he got milked. And he's still no hesitation. Went right in there. Also, there was a line that Sarah said that I found extremely stupid. And she says, when life gives me lemons, I make a gingerbread man. I said, go. Like, that was such
that's
contrived line.
That's stupid. For real.
Okay, let me lost my place here for a second. Okay, so she's checking the shop out, and she's like, oh, you know what? This seems like a pretty solid place. And Larnell's like, yeah, I never actually smoke stuff. I just sell it for medicinal purposes.
Yeah. I don't sell to anyone without a limp.
Yeah. That was a great line. Again, yes. Like, most of the script writing, I think, is just like, let's put all of it on Larnell because nothing else makes sense. So let's just hope he makes him laugh enough to not care.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the backside now. I'm on the last half here. So Strings also sees Rabbit go into Evie. So he's freaking out. He's like, I got some shit to show you. And he's like, not now, Strings. And he's like, but really, like, there's some shit going on back here. You might want to see. And also, like, Larnell's flirting with Sarah so hard. And I'm like, what about Felicity? Like, what, we're just going to give up on this for this crossover? And then also there's a sign hung up in the shop that says, don't mention Luann or else you get a free nut kick. He's like, who's Luann? So then Luann shows up. And they're like, oh, whatever happened to your friends? And he's like, well, Al works on a space station bathroom. And Bachman and Brett got married and opened a Pilates studio. And Luann's like, I want to screw that guy still. And then her and Sarah bicker back and forth. So it's just Rob and Sydney acting the hell out of the scene, having to talk to herself. And they almost fight. And then Luann leaves. That's it. That's all Luann. We literally just shoehorned her in for those 2 jokes.
Yeah, she's all upset because she can't bone Brett anymore.
Because he's boning Bachman.
Yes.
It's a very contrived romance, but hey, there's a long history of contrived romances in this franchise.
Mm-hmm.
So then they go and they see that Rabbit has been sucked into the Bong world, and Larnell's like, I'm not saving you again. This is completely your fault. But then Strings is murdered by the Gingerdead man with a bong through the head, which was a decent kill. I was cool with this one. I was sad to see Strings go, but it was good. That was a good kill. So then they hide in the room that has no clear exit. And then Larnell's like, shit, why did we do this? So then Evie is out in the counter and the Gingerdead man climbs up. We finally get about an hour into this movie. We actually have the Gingerdead man and the evil Bong in the same shot. And basically the evil Bong's like, you're ugly. And the Gingerdead man's like, I'll kill you. And then he goes in there, does a Shining reference where he does the axe and the human thing. And even though that's well overdone in movies, I was like, yeah, I'll allow it. This one isn't terrible.
Yeah.
So then Larnell's like, the only way we can escape. So first he does a karate kick to knock the dead man to the floor. And then they toke on Evie and he blows it in her face. So they escape into Bong World to escape the Gingerdead man. So then Evie's like, hey, Gingerdead man, you want to kill her? You got to toke out of this. And Gingerdead man goes into Bong World as well. Yeah. So then Sarah, it's her first time in Bong World and she's having like way too much fun.
Yeah.
So she's like, she makes like a big dress thing and she has the killer baked goods in the sky talking, and they come in again later. So they're like, we made these puppets for like one fucking joke in the third movie. So we're using the hell out of it. Okay. Like, this is a lot of work. We're getting it done. So they have that little quick cut scene. And then Larnell calls her Mila Brovovich, which I cracked up at. His bro lines are great. But then the Gingerdead man runs into King Bong, who is for some reason in Evie's world.
Yeah.
And it's just another scene where King Bong's like, bah, you motherfucker. And he's like, bah, you're stupid. I'll murder you. So again, it's just like a little shit talk scene to fill the time because there's no actual action happening.
Yeah. And how did so King Bong and the entire Poontang clan, Poontang tribe in Evie's Bong World, which is not a strip club anymore.
Yeah, even though King Bong blew up.
Yeah, blew up.
But then the Poontang tribe shows up, but they're the exact same chicks that were in the beginning, the three girls from the beginning, just redressed. Like tribe. I was like, wow, they didn't even fucking try with that one.
Nope.
And then they coerce the Gingerdead man into the tribunal where he'll be judged by the killer desserts from
I judged by the baked goods tribunal.
Yep.
Even though there's 4 of them, so tribunal isn't even a good word for it.
Then Larnell finds Rabbit in a wall of titties.
Yep. A big wall of titty.
Yeah.
He's like, and he immediately knows it's Rabbit. He's like, I know who made this. Jesus.
Who else would make that?
Yeah.
And Rabbit has mastered Bong World because he figures out that the Bong World just gives you the opposite of what you want. So if you just think in reverse, you can conquer the world and make it titties.
Which, how does Rabbit understand this after only being in a Bong World one time when everyone else he's been in it twice?
Because he was in King Bong and the Alien Bong.
Oh, and he was in Alien Bong. But that wasn't really a Bong World. I thought that transported them to a different planet or something.
Let's not spend too much time worrying about how this shit works.
Okay. So all we know is that Rabbit found out. He knows.
Give these filmmakers
he knows the truth. God.
So yeah, he's randomly mastered the world. And then meanwhile, the Gingerdead man, they're like, you're sentenced to being eaten and reborn and eaten over and over again. And he's like, I won't do it again. And they're like, fair enough. So that's absolutely nothing other than be like we need to have more filler with the Gingerdead man.
Yeah. Like, I'm still confused about where the pastries, the baked goods came from, why they're super powerful.
Like, we needed to use these goddamn things. They're going in the movie.
And it's in the Bong World still. So does Evie have control of it?
Well, I assume that was King Bong's Bong World because the Poontang.
So King Bong can have his own Bong World while also in a Bong World.
Yes.
they wanted to get as deep as Inception did.
Bong Worldception. I'm waiting for the alien Bong too. He's inside King Bong, so we got a Bong world inside a Bong world inside a Bong world. That's what I'm waiting for.
That's the movie. That's the end.
That's gonna be
the climax.
420.
Yeah, and then Sarah and Larnell just dip.
Well, first they're just smoking weed with Rabbit. I'm like, I thought Sarah was so against it, and then she immediately is like, "Yeah, I'm all in." I'm like,
yeah,
wow, that happened.
Yeah.
Oh, and then he calls her Broby McGuire. That also made so yeah, they just randomly are like, Rabbit's like, if you say you want to stay, it'll make you leave. And he's like, oh, and then they do that. And then the Gingerdead man, who spent the whole movie trying to kill Sarah, goes, I'll just stay in Bong World. So he didn't even actually do much with her other than that shining scene.
No, that and Gingerdead man, he goes up to Rabbit, and and then Rabbit, and summons Poontang tribe members who look at him really good with red eyes, and then
he's just smoking a joint.
Yeah, then he's just smoking a joint. Did he kill Rabbit? I don't think so. I don't know.
And then Sarah and Larnell just leave the shop hand in hand, and I'm like, again, where is Felicity?
Yeah. That's the weirdest part. I thought at first the Larnell was just being nice, just overly nice, and then that happens.
I was like,
I'll walk you to your shop for you. We're gonna go find a couple dead bodies together, even though they don't get there.
Yeah, who knows where they actually went? But so that was Evil Bong versus the Gingerdead man. Cole, give your final / overall thoughts.
I'm glad it was so much Larnell. It was so much him. I wanted it to be just Larnell movie and skip the Gingerdead man versus Bong. I want Larnell movie about Larnell.
Like him trying to evade Secret Services and stuff. Be fun stuff.
And Gingerdead man, it's like everything else about the plot of this movie was just so pushed to the side. It seems like nothing was actually sat down and worked on fully. It's like they just got one thing, they moved on.
I think they had an extra couple days of shooting in Evil Bong 3, and they were like, let's make another movie. And they just kind of shoehorned it together.
Yeah.
It's again not the worst one we've watched, but all 3 Evil Bong movies were better than this. And I would say maybe even Gingerdead Man 2 was more enjoyable than this, because it at least made the plot flowed in Gingerdead Man 2. It all built to something kind of.
Yeah.
Whereas this movie just felt like a bunch of random shit thrown together.
Yeah.
Just so we could say we put the Evil Bong and the Gingerdead Man in the same movie.
Yeah. It seemed mostly lazy, honestly. Yep.
So with that ends our coverage of the Gingerdead Man versus Evil Bong. Join us next time for Evil Bong 420, which will continue whatever story they're trying to do. Literally after this, it could go anywhere. It could do absolutely anything because this movie made no sense. So, stay tuned next time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. And until next time, stay safe and stay nerdy.